What's good everyone? I've got essentially a continuation of the previous video with the suede headliner. So now we're doing the Starlight installation. I know a lot of people think it's pretty tacky and whatnot, but this has always been a childhood dream of mine to do. So I'm excited to finally have this done. We'll be going through the whole process, but yeah, let's get straight into it. Got a kit from Amazon. I think it was around 450 stars. Plus the shooting star set. So it's 450 pieces, as you can see. 400 pieces of 0.75 mil, 20 pieces of 1 mil, and then 10 pieces of 1.5 mil. What I'm essentially going to do is make a grid and then have an approximate amount of stars within each grid so that we just have an understanding of where everything should go. I've marked out a 5x5 grid just as a general guideline so that I'm not overcrowding one area with stars. I don't have enough stars to do, let's say, that corner or something like that. Updates so far. Got them dotted all over right here. You can feel all of them. Oh, well, you can't feel them, but you can see them. Organized the fiber optics. The 0.75 mil first. The first square has 6. And then I would move slightly to the right on this bundle here. So I'd move from the middle slightly to the right and then bundle up 9. And then the same thing for the next one, which is 3 down there. I bundled up 7, and then 4th bundled up 8, and so on. I started bundling it all up with electrical tape. In these bundles here, as you can see, the 1.5 mil and the 1 mil cables are separate because they were just separated at the start of the bundle. And then down here, I've actually connected them all together. So I bundled it up diagonally since this is where the cable will be running from. I'll be storing the lighting unit in the rear passenger glove box. This step isn't very necessary. Honestly, you could just start poking holes and plugging them in and you should be okay. So this was a little demo of the shooting star kit that came with the Starlights. Now, you'll actually see that I take this out later in the video, but there's a couple of reasons. The first is that I used super glue to put these down as they were the first things that I had placed, and this actually made the fiber optics brittle, so do not do that because they kept breaking. And second, I wasn't a fan of the initial star pattern that I had made, so I decided to go against that sort of 2-star long shooting star pattern. You can see here, currently fitting up the stars. So I had them bundled up together essentially as it goes forward like that, in that diagonal motion. Helps with cable management. So you can see here I have all of them grouped up. I've got 5 right here. I can see 14s right here. One thing I really am not a fan of are these shooting stars. Another snap off right here. So this one snapped off as well, so I'm gonna have to try and redo that. Ooh. We also have the wires themselves under, which you can see they twinkle, which is nice. Currently painting interior parts, so you got here the sun visors. I'm using Duplicolor's vinyl and fabric. See that right there. This is a matte finish, I believe, but don't quote me. 10 minutes per coat. Light coats, I think it's dry after about an hour or so. I've got the sunglass assembly right here, and what we're gonna do is that there's actually a spring right here. There you go. See the spring right there, and it has this little tiny edge on it that you can just pop out, and then you should be able to take this spring assembly out. It just comes right out, and then the tricky part is on the other side. There's a few different components. So you have this gear right here, which is its own piece, and this thing will slide out. There we go. So it just comes out. It's just press fitted. So this piece is connected by this metal insert here, and it holds together the clip that is contained to hold this entire gear right here. So what you have to do is you have to pry this out first, and then from the inside, this region right here, you can use that to pop the clip out to remove this. This is simply just a clip right here, slides under. So you can see there, right there's a clip right there. I did snap off all the clips. of the Bluetooth telephone mic and airbag passenger light, I think. On SolidWorks here you can see I actually created basically new mounting points that slide on top of the previous ones since they're snapped. This would go on the bottom portion, so you can see I have a slot in there, and then the peg just sticks out to attach to the new metal frame. Similarly, this is the middle part, or the middle peg, and you can see there's an insert there as well. See, you can actually see this was probably the most intricate piece. Lastly, the top piece, which is similar to like the bottom. So I've already attached it, and unfortunately I didn't film it, but I hot glued all the clips that I essentially 3D printed. So I didn't reuse the old metal clips that were being utilized from before that I took off. I 3D printed basically just cylinders that would press fit onto the pegs, and then just hot glue them on to just make sure it stayed together. The 2 here, 2 in the middle, and then the 3 down here as well. I did, you can see. You can't see, but the 3D printed parts that I had developed are sitting under here. So at each of these points, as well as down there. And then again, similarly, I just put on some press fit cylinders and then hot glue them together so that it would stay. I reinforced all these edges here with more 3D print, because when I was working on it and like I would press down on these sections, this would flex a ton, so some of these points actually started bending through. You can see right here. It's hard to tell, but it actually snapped right here, the headliner itself. So again, did that all around, as well as on the back side, you can see there. And didn't get to show, but I did do all the additional stuff with these shooting stars. So you can see, I'll just change it to blue. You can see all the blue is the shooting stars. And I've got here, a bit cheesy, but I've got a K right here, and then I put a Z logo. You can see right there. I put an L on this side as well, where the sun visors sit. I also attached some more suede fabric across the previous shooting stars that I had made, because light would be able to see through. Unfortunately, on the other side, you can still see the holes if you look directly at them, which sucks, but they won't be as noticeable considering you're on, it's a black headliner, so that's okay. I've drilled out a hole because I'll have the fiber optics running through here. You can see by the light poking through, but it passes directly through here, right here. So what I'm wondering is if I can maybe try my best to sort of run it somewhere down along this B pillar, hopefully, and then slide it straight into here behind the passenger seat, and then hopefully just have the wires go through there, and then have of course, the electrical box and whatnot. I'm just sitting right here. I'll wire out the boxes to the fuse going down through here, all the way around, and then I'll go out behind the head unit and whatnot. I think I have a couple of things already routed through there, so I'll just run it through that. But yeah, now time to put the headliner in. So, got the headliner in. Essentially what I started with, I slid in that side first from the back. So essentially this was the headliner here. Turned it, slid it in this way, and then slid it into place. For some reason, I wasn't able to get the clips in. I kept pushing and pushing, it wasn't working. So what I first did is that I tucked the sides here of the headliner into the weather stripping on both sides. And then, since I obviously had these panels, I had these panels removed to try and get them out the way so that I could actually route that thing. You see here? And it goes straight down into there and it comes out here. But I tucked it on that side, and then I tucked it into the A pillars, so that driver's side B pillar and then the two A pillars were also, I tucked the headliner into it so that it would hold it up, and then it sort of adjusted itself into place once I put in the weather stripping, so that I could actually clip those 4 clips that are on top of there. I'm currently working on trying to fix this one up right here. It's very tight, as you can see here, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to actually do that. But yeah, I'm basically just trying to tuck it away and then pressing both the panels in, but that's gonna be probably the worst part. finally got the trim pieces in. So essentially what I had to do first was clip this in, the top of the B pillar to the C pillar first, and then do the bottom portion here. So this part just clip it in and then slide, because they sort of attach around where the seam is around here. So just slide them into place after and then clip it in. I fully have the headliner in, as you can see here. So I have it all in. Again, I have the fiber optics running through this B pillar area right here behind the seat belt, so it goes around here on the back side and then drops down into this piece of trim and then goes back behind into the passenger seats right here, and then runs from a hole that I had created that you can barely see, but there's a hole right there that you can barely see. And then I have the Starlight as well as the shooting stars right here. So as for cutting, I got a flush cutter right here, as you can see. So all you need to do, just when you're cutting it, make sure it's completely flush with the degree that you're cutting it at. So this is an angle, so I'm cutting it right here. All you need to do is just snip. And then there it is, it'll stay there. And it'll come out like this. So yeah, so we're just gonna do that for all these. Currently trying to set up the fuse tap. I'm gonna have it running through here behind the dashboard, behind the head unit, down through that trim, back up, and then snaked into that hole that I have for the passenger glove box. So right now what I'm doing is just removing the whole head unit assembly with the gauges. So what you have to first do is essentially just pop this out. You can just pull in it from here. So then you have two wires here for the hazard and the knobs. And you gotta remove the module. The three connections for the module, you can just see them right there. You just have to push down on the tabs that are on the top, right there, and right there. You have one screw right here, one screw right there, and these two screws. There's one screw right there, and another right there. So once you have the bolts off, then you can just pry it from here at the bottom, and it'll give way, and then you also have to pry it from the top here. Once this is popped off, then there's a connection for the gauges that you have to come off, and then you can basically rock this forward. You can see right there's a plug that just connects to this right here. It's just a simple tab. This one's actually pretty easy to take off. And now you have access to the back, so now I'm just gonna try and feed the wire under the dashboard and then through this area. It's hard to tell, but you can see here I'm replacing this one, that 15 amp fuse right there. So that's what we're gonna tap into. There's a very little region like right behind the dash. It sits like really right around here, and you sort of have to curl the wire upwards into this area, so it goes upwards and then through here, and then you can just fish out the wire. But as you can see, it's made itself all the way through from down here. So yeah, and now I'm just gonna feed it through this area as well, and then it'll route under where the sort of passenger side is, and then run it down the trim. The reason why I'm starting from this side of the fuse tap itself, so that all the slack goes to the back in the glove box right there. The passenger side was a lot harder. Essentially what I had to do was create this sort of rig. I attached a zip tie to the wire itself so it could hook. It's hard to show. I don't think I'll be able to show it on here, but essentially if you feed the wire down through here and you shine a light from the backside, there's an area that you can see if you just fish it straight through. It'll end up essentially where the cigarette lighter region is. So somewhere around here, you'll see a hole where the light is shining through. And you essentially just have to wrap around into that area. And then once you grab it from the underside, you can pull it through. So I ran the wire from under here. I just tucked it. You can feel it literally just hanging right here, but I just have it tucked. And then I had this panel off. It's just two clips, one clip right here, one clip right here. You just have to pry off, as well as a plastic screw in the back right there that you just have to twist off. So as you can see, I've got the wire running through here. So now I'm just gonna tuck it into this region behind the clips and then run it through this area. Okay, so same trick again, just had it attached to the zip tie, and then I moved this seatbelt out the way so I can get it behind. And you can see it actually routes through this little region right here. So just to give you perspective where exactly it is. So if you go down a bit, you can see right there. And I could tell that there was a hole there because, again, if you just shine a light through here, you can actually see the light itself poking through, and you know exactly where the clearance is, and you can just find that hole. Yeah. So now that I've got it all the way through, I can pull the wire all the way through and just tuck everything in. I finally have all the interior back together, so now I'm gonna turn on the car. You can see here, I've just got on a simple, like an RGB setting for these shooting stars, but you can see all the lights are twinkling. I'll get another shot in the dark time, but I've got the Z right here. You can see the K is sitting right there. Also have the L right there. And yeah, all the additional shooting stars are working pretty well, so that's nice.